Will Bruce Bastian please join me at the podium? Bruce Wayne Bastian has been a long-term friend of the Westminster community. His sponsorship of the Bastian Foundation Diversity Lecture Series has brought numerous speakers to our campus and provided all members of the Westminster community with the opportunity to engage with national experts and broaden and deepen their knowledge of diversity and social justice. Although they address many issues, all of the speakers share a common belief in and a commitment to the intrinsic worth and value of every individual. That focus is typical of the work that Bruce has done as an individual, as a member of the Board of Human Rights Committee, and through his foundation. The B.W. Bastian Foundation is committed to supporting organizations who wholeheartedly embrace the principle of equality in their work. That work may range from the arts. The foundation supports Ballet West, the Salt Lake Symphony, the Salt Lake Film Center, to helping those in need, the Ronald McDonald House, Crossroads Urban Center, Salt Lake County Aging Services, to organizations working with the LGBTQ community, like the Utah Pride Center and Equality Utah Foundation. The range of interests that Bruce supports reflects his passions. For example, his commitment to the arts springs from a lifelong involvement with music. Growing up in a conservative Mormon family in Idaho, Bruce was surrounded by music. In fact, his parents gave all of their children piano lessons. But Bruce learned more than a love of music from his parents. He learned about the importance of equality and social justice. When white-owned restaurants in Idaho in the 1950s refused to serve great black musicians like Duke Ellington and Count Basie, the Bastians brought dinner to their bus. Bruce's interest in music continued through his college years at BYU, where he was the director of the BYU Cougar Marching Band. With the help of an instructor, Alan Ashton, who shared his love of music and was also fascinated by the emergence of information technology, he developed a software program to help choreograph marching band performances. After getting his BA in music, Bruce decided to get a master's degree in computer science. And when that was done, he and Professor Ashton started a small software company which became WordPerfect. And WordPerfect immediately became the best-selling program in the US and several regions in the world. Bruce Bastian, a man who loves the arts and was fascinated by technology, became the head of a very large business. It was a role that he threw himself into. As the head of international sales, he was incredibly successful in promoting WordPerfect, learning more about other countries and other cultures, and finding out more about himself. One of the things that he found out was that, in his words, "I do not believe any human being can be happy without being true to himself or herself." I think that's the first rule of life. It's not easy, and sometimes that goes against the grain. Bruce followed that first rule. He acknowledged that he is gay, recognizes and values the fact that it is an important part of who he is, and lives his life accordingly. That public announcement took courage, and it involved some cost. But it also has given Bruce the freedom to become a leader in the ongoing fight for equal rights and human dignity. Bruce's journey is fascinating and far from done. But as I look at the path he has traveled, one conclusion is clear. He has helped all of us understand that every person in this country is entitled to the same rights as any other person. They need not, and they ought not, accept anything less. Bruce embodies that lesson. He insists that his rights as a human being, as a citizen of this country, and as an individual be respected. He supports those organizations and those individuals who share that belief. And I am proud to say that as an institution, Westminster does. For all of those reasons and more, as a mark of our respect for all that he has accomplished, Westminster College, with the approval of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, is honored to present Bruce Bastian for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities, with all of the rights, honors, and privileges thereunto pertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor of presenting to you, and you have the privilege of listening to, Dr. Bruce Bastian.
President Bassis, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the faculty and staff, most importantly, graduates, I am hugely honored by this. It's hard to put into words. I do hope I get the name of the tailor so that I can expand my wardrobe. It's hot under here, as you know. First, I want to say something to your parents or your special friends, significant others, anyone who helped you get here today. Congratulations. You should be happy, thrilled, maybe a bit relieved. They made it. Their lives are going to change now, so will yours. That's as it should be. I grew up in Idaho, spending my teenage years working on our farm alongside my father. As unglamorous and difficult as those years were, they helped make me who I am. My father taught me many things, one of which was how to work. Besides working all day, every day on our farm, he was also a musician, which kept him out late many nights. So in high school, when I would go out and party with my friends, as I did have a tendency and do, I knew I had no excuse the next morning at 5:30 when it was time to get up and go to work. That just didn't cut it. Sorry, Mom. Too bad, Bruce. My father also taught me how important it is to stand up for what I believe and to respect everyone, especially those who were deemed different or unworthy. I grew up not realizing how deeply my father loved me and how hard he worked to make my life better than his had been. But I know that now, without question. As Michael said, when I graduated from BYU, I was the director of the BYU marching band. I thought I knew it all. I thought all I had to do was follow the path that had been set for me, and I would find happiness. One of the first major lessons in my life was to abandon that path and develop my own, learn my own path. I look back on my life now and I can recognize turning points that got me to where I am today. There are decisions and things that happen in our lives that change our path, that change the course of our lives, that we cannot foresee. But when we look back, they become very obvious. I was really happy to be the director of the marching band. I loved the marching band. I thought I was doing a terrific job. Pat. About 6 months before getting my master's degree in music, I was called into the dean's office and fired. Wow. What a shock. All my father's advice about not going into music flooded back to me. Within a few days, mostly out of anger, I had changed my master's degree from music to computer science. Looking back now, I realized being fired as the director of that band, as difficult and hard as that was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Had I not been fired, I never would have pursued a career in computer science that led to WordPerfect and the great success that followed. Upon receiving my master's degree, I made perhaps the most significant decision of my professional life. As some of you might be feeling now, what to do next is a big decision, or it might be. Maybe you've been getting some advice from people. I know I certainly did. Family, friends, professors, all good advice, all well-meaning. Unfortunately, what they were telling me isn't what I felt inside. I had a lot of good job offers sitting out there in front of me. I didn't accept any of them. Everybody told me I was crazy. Instead, I took a chance and joined up with my partner, my professor, Alan Ashton, and we set out on our big adventure of writing a word processor. Now, making that decision didn't mean that all of a sudden everything was rosy, that all the money just kept piling in. No, no. That decision meant I did not have a steady job, a regular job. That decision meant I was going to have to work a lot more hours for a lot less money, sometimes no money. There were many times that followed when I would wonder if I had made the right decision. Deep down, however, I always felt that was the right path for me, so I kept going, knowing all the while that there was no promise that that path would lead me to success or happiness. Some say, "Oh, Bruce, you got so lucky." Thomas Jefferson said, "The harder you work, the luckier you will be." So, thanks to that decision, lots of work over many years, eventually WordPerfect came to be, a product and a company I'm very, very proud of. WordPerfect led the way to changing how people communicate. The idea of writing something electronically led to email and perhaps even texting, something I often find annoying and something you're probably doing right now. At the time, however, I had no idea what was going to happen 10 or 20 years from then. Had I not decided to take a chance to follow my own gut, WordPerfect never would have happened. Today, I can look back and see things that happened in my life that changed my life. Some of those things were things of my own choosing, some were not. However, you can never look ahead with full knowledge of what will come. So you have to learn to trust that you are moving forward and things will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust something. You can call it your gut instinct, you can call it karma, you can call it inspiration, whatever you want to call it. That trust, that belief will give you the strength to follow your gut, to follow what you believe, even when things are really hard or when people are telling you to do something else. It's not always easy. I know that. But I believe for whatever reason, our inner soul, our inner self, knows what is best for us. Our task is to learn how to listen to that and follow that. We have to trust that. My next point I want to make is to expect change in your life. Expect it and, in fact, welcome it. I believe there are many people who are inspired in what they say and do. I believe some of those people are playwrights, composers, and lyricists. I would like to read some of the lyrics of a song called Move On from Sunday in the Park with George by Stephen Sondheim. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing it. I'm just going to read it. Stop worrying where you're going. Move on. If you can know where you're going, you've gone. Just keep moving on. I chose, and my world was shaken. So what? The choice may have been mistaken. The choosing was not. You have to move on. I want to emphasize, I chose and my world was shaken. So what? The choice may have been mistaken. The choosing was not. We need to remember the only real mistake we can make is to make no decision at all. Do you know people who seem stuck in life? Could it possibly be because they don't want to make a decision that could actually change things? When it came time for us to make the decision to sell WordPerfect, that was a decision we did not want to make. How could we sell our baby? How could we sell something that we had all devoted so many years of our lives to? How could we trust that someone else would ever take care of it like we did? Well, we all knew it wouldn't, that nobody would. But we also knew that we had to make that decision. We had to move on. I had to move on. I had to move on to a life that I was totally unprepared for, and one that was foreign to me. Retirement. Oh, no. I know it doesn't sound so bad, but I was in my mid-40s, and I had expected the WordPerfect to just go on and on and on. I really didn't know what to do with my life. And I found myself wondering what was next. Instead of joining another company and starting something new, I found myself being drawn towards something totally different. Even though I had experienced great success and wealth, I was still seen and treated as second class or less than by many simply because I had come out as a gay man. So I decided to try to change that. I really didn't know how. It was a very touchy and somewhat scary idea. You have to remember, this was before Will and Grace, which you probably saw in reruns. Nobody talked about gay rights in the mid-90s, especially not in Utah. As personally challenging as it was for me to become a gay activist, which many call me now, it changed my life and led me onto a path that has been the most rewarding part of my life. It was a change that I was not expecting and had not prepared myself for, but one that I can look back on now and know that it was a good decision and a good change. Believe it or not, I've had several people tell me what I should say to you today. I think the most interesting is that suggests that we all read the obituaries every day. I wondered why. I thought, well, maybe it's to get inspiration because of what all these people have accomplished during their life. And I thought, well, maybe it's to find out what job openings there might be today. After thinking about it, I believe if there is value, is to remind ourselves that our time here is limited. I love what Steve Jobs said. To echo him, our time here is limited, and we should not live it. We should not waste the time we have living our lives according to who someone else dictates. We shouldn't waste our time trying to be the person someone else expects us to be or tells us we should be. Only you know what will make you happy. Only you. I tried living the life that was expected of me, and it only led to unhappiness, not only for myself, but for many, many people that I love dearly. When I finally had the courage to follow my own heart, I slowly discovered who I am, the value and beauty of people around me, and what I could do to possibly make this world a better place. I didn't do anything grand. I simply stayed in Utah and fought for what I believe in. That has led me to another level of success and happiness I never expected. It has also led to many changes in laws and opinions of people, not only in Utah, but all over this country. I still get up early and work. It is easier for me now because I really love my work. I had to make changes in my life so that I would love my work, and I'm so very glad I did. I believe it is very important to love what you do. If you love what you do, you will be more successful and you will be happier doing it. I believe it's more important to love what you do than it is to make a lot of money doing it. Now, I know you're going to look at me and say, oh, yeah, sure. But seriously, I really do believe, had I not really loved doing WordPerfect, WordPerfect wouldn't have happened. If I didn't love what I do now, fighting for what I fight for, it would become very, very, very hard work. You spend a big part of your life working, so loving what you do can make a big difference in the happiness of your life. My children are here today, which is very humbling for me, and I want to publicly tell them how much I love them and how proud I am of the strong, wonderful, good men that they have become. I know full well that I was not and am not the perfect father. I hope as the years go by, my life and what I have done in my life will prove to be a blessing to them and their children and their grandchildren. You probably won't remember much of what I've said today because you have other things on your mind, but I hope you will remember these simple thoughts. Be yourself. Don't try to be anyone else. Trust in yourself to find your own happiness. Nobody will find it for you. The happier you are, the more successful you will be, and the happier you will make those whom you love. Most of all, follow your heart and never, ever stop dreaming. Thank you. Thank you very much.